Wendy, the recording is in process,
Yep.
and we have officially arrived to the 2024 college football season. Wendy, it's been several months.
Yes.
A lot has happened.
Yeah.
Go ahead and tell me, how are you doing? Tell me about your off season. Tell me what you're doing to get in shape for the big 2024 college football season. Wendy, what's up?
Well, I don't know why you would think I'd be getting in shape. There's zero shape given. I have not done one thing. In fact, I'm a nervous wreck. So I really think that I've got to see what Alabama can do. So basically, I've been eating all summer, but I've enjoyed eating all summer. My daughter is a freshman at the University of Alabama, Roll Tide. So we got her moved in this year, actually just a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And Christopher made the golf team. Other than
Okay.
that, Trey, that's really been it. Getting her ready to go to college this summer took up a majority of everything. So,
Well, how are you dealing with it, Wendy?
um, I mean, look, she's having the time of her life. She's really enjoying it. It's really hard on moms when they're first leave. So I just listen, I've been enjoying a lot of chocolate and a lot of TV, and I'm okay with that.
So it's probably like all of us. It's a little bit of probably a roller coaster. There's good days, bad days, different things.
Yes.
Bailey's doing good. She's a freshman in Alabama. Christopher made the golf team. He's hitting the golf ball good. I played golf with him the other day. He's really gotten a lot better. He
Yeah.
plays fast. Thank you, Christopher, for playing fast. Anybody that plays golf, please hurry up and hit the ball.
Right.
Just hit the ball. All right, let's get to football, Wendy. Look, we're going to have to jump around here because as I wrote some stuff down yesterday, Wendy, I'm sure your notepad is full of stuff.
No, I made this especially for you. It says, I don't know if you can.
Okay, I wrote nothing down.
Yeah, so that, but I put a heart at the bottom, and so I wrote nothing down, not one thing.
Okay, so as we can tell, we're going to be really prepared for this. Wendy, I did write a few things down. Wanted to say hey to Mommy B.
Yes.
Wanted to say hey to Bob, the stats guy. Bob, if you are listening to this, we will need some stats this year. Ate lunch with Nacho the other day. He seems to be doing good. Mike has already got the text thread going. He is in preseason form. I'm looking for a big year from Mike. Bear Burnett. Bear, I have called you. I played golf with Bear a little bit. We've had some fun, entertaining matches out there. Bear, I've called you a couple of times. I'm coaching a soccer team.
Oh.
I'm coaching a U8 soccer team. Bear, I've called you twice. Your voicemails are full, and I need some help with coaching a U8 soccer team. Please pick up the phone. Hope you're doing well, by the way. Everybody else out there that listens, Barry, all the other people that listen, what's up? We're going to get into it. Towards the end of what we're talking about, we're going to try to do something a little bit different this year. Wendy, football is back. Week 1 is upon us. We've got several big changes. Number one, the University of Alabama has a new coach, Caleb DeBoer. We're looking to see what he's going to do. We have still got Hugh Freeze down at the Auburn football Tigers.
Yeah.
He believes in Peyton Thorne, and it looks like Auburn's going to ride or die with Peyton Thorne. We'll get into that, Wendy. We've got some different rules in college football now. We have a 2-minute warning. The 2-minute warning should be some gamesmanship towards the end of the half and the end of the game. That will be interesting to see, Wendy. Let's just go ahead and start with the Alabama Crimson Tide. We're Alabama fans. We're college football fans. Wendy, Alabama opens up a new era of football, and that is against Western Kentucky Saturday night at Bryant-Denny Stadium. Wendy, what do you look to see from the ball club?
I want to see the defense. I just, the biggest question I've got as an Alabama fan is I understand that our new coach, has done amazing things. They were in much different conferences, a lot of slinging the ball, very little defense. So the question for me is, can this guy build a defense? You have to have one in the SEC to beat the big teams, to beat a Georgia, LSU, Texas at this point. Even Missouri this year is looking really good on the defensive side of the ball. We're going to have to see what this defense can do. Are we deep at enough positions? It looks like our receiving core should be good. I mean, it not only is Milroe doing great in practice, apparently multiple of our quarterbacks are doing really great at practice. So I don't know if I'm too concerned on the offensive side of the ball. We've got a new center. Thank you very much, because that center literally, I feel like, got paid by somebody to lose games. But either way, I just want to see the DBs how we're going to look on the defensive side of the ball, and are we going to be able to match up this year against the bigger programs?
Yeah, you bring up a lot of good points, Wendy. But number one, let's don't lose sight of football. The football game is one. You have to score more points than the opposing team scores. So if you score one more point than the opposing team, you're good. We might get in some more shootouts this year. I think that's what college football is anyway, a little bit more. So yeah, I'm with you. I think our offense should be fine. I'm interested to see what the defense is. I don't really know a lot about this defense. I know we're not playing as much man. And look, I mean, to me, we don't really know, but I mean, it almost feels more like a bend but don't break type defense. I don't know. I'll have to look at it. There's people that know what they're talking about. I don't. But when you start saying we're going to play a lot of zone coverage, that just says keep stuff in front of you and make them make a play.
Right.
Wendy, the one big thing about the Alabama deal is the communication. So now the coaches are going to be able to communicate with the quarterback.
Yep.
We're going to see it all weekend long. I think it is a bigger deal than you think. Kalen DeBoer has to make sure he knows Jalen Milroe's strengths and weaknesses. It's one thing at practice when you've got Tupac playing on the radio, calling in, YZX cross stack, push fade.
Right.
It's another thing when you have 95,000 people going crazy and it's amped up. Can Kalen DeBoer get the communication right with our quarterback, and can our quarterback process this information, Wendy? Let's take into consideration Jalen Milroe was a work in progress last year.
Yes.
Did he get better? Yes. Did we make it a long way? Yes. Did he look really good? Yes. You have got to really customize this to him and what he can process and what he can do. The one other thing that I'm really interested to see is can Jalen Milroe really read these defenses?
Yes.
I mean, if he's required to read where these people are, it's, I just look out for that. I don't know if, I don't know.
Well, but you got to remember too, though, he's a really good scrambler. He reminds me a lot of Jalen Hurts when Jalen Hurts was at Alabama. He can get the ball downfield, but he can also use his legs and he can also run. Now, remember, there were multiple games last year where as fans, we were like, dude, you've got to decide. And if you're going to run, just run. And towards the end of the season, we started seeing him play way more complete games. What I'm hoping is that's going to carry through, meaning if the play's not there, you're big enough to use your legs and get us some yardage. Don't be afraid to run the ball,
Bryant Denny will be rocking and rolling.
Yes.
We're actually going to the game, so we're going to go out there and see Kalen DeBoer's first game. The Auburn football Tigers, Wendy, the Auburn football Tigers, Hugh Freeze has got it all made. Wendy, I've never seen a coach. Maybe I don't look enough. But Hugh Freeze last year, I think every game that they lost, he was talking about he was somewhere recruiting, that he wasn't calling the plays, and he blames this guy and blames that guy. Listen, that all might be true. Well, now he is the guy. Hugh Freeze is the guy. And Peyton Thorne is who he's riding with. Now, these guys get paid a lot of money to understand what they're looking at. This might be their best option. I'm not buying in. Believe it when I see it. What do you think Hugh Freeze and the Auburn football Tigers are going to do down there on the
I'm a little different than you. This thing with that's the only option he's got, Trey. They couldn't recruit a quarterback. So you're sitting there saying he's ride or die. He doesn't really have an option. But I'm going to tell you something. I will never sleep on Hugh Freeze. I just feel like Hugh Freeze is a really good ball coach. I really, really do. I think they're just going to be able to come out of nowhere this year and beat some of these teams? No. But this guy can get down in the trenches a little bit, and he'll take a game to the last minute. So the question is he going to be able to get it down to that last minute, and can this quarterback keep up? But by everybody saying, oh, he's ride or die, no. He has no other option. And that's just where Auburn's put themselves by their
he had a complete offseason to find another quarterback.
They didn't want to come.
What did you see from Peyton Thorne last year that said, okay, this is our guy?
Literally nothing.
Okay.
Not one thing.
And now listen, Auburn recruited some receivers.
Yes,
I know Auburn's building stuff. I understand this stuff isn't, a shake and bake, but they've got some new receivers, but this is put up or shut up. I don't know where Hugh Freeze goes for another excuse. I don't know where he goes for an excuse relative to I'm recruiting. Somebody else was calling the plays, but we'll have to figure that out. They'll get it cranked up down there at Auburn. And Auburn's got a favorable schedule. If they can get on a roll this year, they could be a little bit of a problem. Wendy, let's jump let's do Tennessee. The Tennessee Volunteers, the recruiting juggernauts of the Tennessee Volunteers, when he come in with a new quarterback that I don't know what his name is.
He's really good.
but he's really good. He played in the bowl game last year. It feels like Tennessee has built something here that might go the distance here. What are they saying on Rocky Top?
Well, listen, y'all, I live 10 minutes away from the stadium, so I have to listen to this crap all year long.
Rocky
Let me say this. You'll always be. All I'm trying to tell everybody is this little new quarterback is legit. I was very upset they should have put him in last year. He was better than the quarterback they had last year. Here's the deal, Trey. I will always go back to the same thing with Tennessee. Their defense is lean.
It's lean. Tell me what lean means.
It's just lean. These kids aren't big. People seem to get hurt over there. They've never been able to get a strength and conditioning coach. Like, it's just they're lean. They're not deep in the defense. And I just think you've got Texas coming in, you've got Oklahoma coming in, and I just don't know if they can carry it defensive wise. Now, they've got Trey, this little quarterback. He's pretty dang special. But can he win a whole game? He's young. He's literally never been in that type of environment with these big stadiums. So we'll just have to see how that plays out. But, for me, I'm a Tennessee hater. I mean, I really am. I want them to lose every game. And I'm sorry to all our Tennessee friends that listen, because Trey, we have so many people from Tennessee that listen to this.
Here's the thing with Tennessee. Number one, game day atmosphere, second to none. They've got fireworks. 100%. They've got the bands going. They've got a great atmosphere up there, Wendy. And if they get a team that is rolling a little bit, they can really reel off some wins this year. I really think Heupel might have his biggest year. I like Tennessee. I don't like them when they play Alabama, to be honest with you. I like Tennessee. I think it's a great game day atmosphere. I look for big things from Tennessee this year. And once again, we're going to get to this in a minute. If you can get the ball rolling downhill and win some games, I know it sounds obvious, but you get that snowball effect, you can make a run looking for Tennessee to do that.
Well, they've also, Trey, real quick, they've got a favorable schedule for the first time in a long time as well, if you look at their schedule. They've got a very favorable schedule this year.
Yeah, let's just bust this down real quick, Wendy. We're going to spend a lot of time on these. Notre Dame and Texas A&M. Texas A&M, Notre Dame comes into Texas A&M. A lot of people are picking Texas A&M. Texas A&M has a new coach. We're going to see what they have to do. And supposedly Texas A&M has that home field advantage. I've never seen a home field advantage. I know they talk about it every time we come on and watch Texas A&M, that there's 600 million people there and it's blah, 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 blah. And then you watch them get beat by 30. Let's see if Texas A&M can create a home field advantage. That's a Notre Dame game that'll be Saturday. Florida and Miami, great helmet game. Yep. Everybody's talking about Billy Napier's got to win some games. Wendy, they're going to find out early what kind of team they have and what kind of team they don't. That'll be fun to watch on TV.
Yep.
And then we have got the Georgia, the king of college football.
Trey,
Georgia Bulldogs. What Georgia Bulldogs are going to do is they're going to leave their nice layer of Athens. They're going to cruise down about 40, 50 miles, get into Atlanta, get in the nice air conditioner. Little Clemson, go walk in there, and Georgia's going to beat them by 50. Wait a minute, everybody. The football game has to be played. Georgia has a few running backs that's a little suspect.
Yep.
Everybody thinks you reload. Nick Saban, we've watched this for years and years and years, and Nick Saban did figure out a way for it to go, but Georgia will have to have players step up and make plays. Wendy, tell me your thoughts on the Georgia Bulldogs.
Well, first off, though, too, I mean, some of those guys that went to jail probably got to get out of jail before they can play the game. But I'm just trying to tell you, at this point, Georgia's a bunch of convicts, in my opinion. But let me tell you something. If you say king of college football one more time, did they make it to the national playoff last year? Absolutely not. Have they been able to beat Bama and SEC? Absolutely not. Till they start beating me regularly, they're not the king of anything. Now, do I prefer Georgia winning over anybody else other than Bama? Sure, they're the SEC. I want the SEC to win. But Carson Beck, though, coming back, man's a big deal. I will tell you, that quarterback, he's about 35 years old. He's got 2 kids and a 401k started. So he really
and he drives like a $150,000 car.
And he drives, and like literally knows football at this point. He's been there 12 years. So I do believe in this Carson Beck kid. I really do. I do believe he's an early front runner Heisman candidate. We'll just see if we can keep these guys out of jail. We'll see what they can do. That's how I feel.
Clemson, yeah, I agree. Georgia should reload. They've got a good system over there, but I love the fact that they have to come out there and they have to do it. I mean, you can reload all you want to, Alabama, anybody, but you have to come out there, and the players that get on the field have to make plays. Wendy, and that's when the lights come on. We'll see if they can do it.
That's right.
I don't know. Everybody bangs on Clemson. It's like Clemson's had a couple of rough years, but Wendy, they've gone through one of the best runs in college football.
Agreed.
I'm watching them play LSU the other night in 2020 in the national championship game. They end up getting blown out, but they were in the game.
Right.
I mean, so everybody sleeps on Clemson. I don't really know why. We'll see Saturday and see what happens there. Wendy, LSU plays USC. Great helmet game again. That's going to be on Monday night. LSU, I don't know what we really plan on seeing from them. We'll have to kind of see how that goes, Wendy.
Right.
Now let's get into a few other things. Wendy, we are in a 12-team playoff this year. It doesn't feel like these games have as much pressure on them. Maybe the later games in the year will have more pressure on them, but we have a 12-team playoff. We basically have 4 big conferences. And we have the Texas Longhorns coming in and the Oklahoma Sooners coming in to the SEC. Wendy, I'm old school. I don't really like it.
I don't either.
I think I'm more of an SEC the way I understand the SEC. But Texas is coming in. They've got a big deal. They've lost 2 running backs already.
Yep.
And Oklahoma coming in a little bit quieter. What do you think, Wendy, with the 2 new teams coming
so
in?
My new team that I'm going to be on one all year is Texas. I just listen. I like Sarkisian when he was at Alabama. He won me a national championship. I'll take it all day long. But like Texas just having to be in the best conference and really never really proven themselves in the conference that they were in. You know what I mean? Until last year. But here's the deal. They're going to be a hard team. I'm thankful we've played them already, so we don't have them on our schedule this year. I'm not as nervous not having them on my schedule, but I hate Texas now. I hate Texas more than I hate Tennessee and Auburn and Georgia at this point. I hope Texas loses every game. Here's the other thing. When you've got oil money and you can pay these kids that much, great. That's fine, but they still got to perform on the field. And you made some questionable calls last year at the end of your national championship game. Very questionable calls. Sounds a little bit like they got scared. So for me, I'm off Texas. I don't want anything to do with them. And honestly, I wish they'd stay in the conference they were at. They had no business, but they want that SEC money. They want that SEC viewership. And they want to be in conversation. Well, let's be in conversation.
Well, they're going to get all they want this year, and that's fine.
Well, let me tell you something. I'm going to get on one real quick. Listen, you can sit there in a crappy schedule and play one good game out of 12. Now, buddy, you got to go against SEC, and your kids are going to get hurt, son. Things happen in the SEC that don't happen in other conferences. Trey, I will go back to when Clemson got in every year and nobody got hurt because he didn't play a schedule. He didn't play a schedule throughout the year. Texas, for the past however long, maybe had 2 or 3 games of a year in that conference. You're going to put them over here and they've got to be beat up every week? Okay, let's see how they handle it. Well, don't make excuses for Texas.
I'm not making excuses for Texas, but it's not like, it's not like they were playing high school football games. They're playing college football games, and everybody says, oh, the SEC. Good teams are good teams, Wendy. Good teams are good teams. All these teams can afford a loss or 2 here or there.
Yes,
it's not going to be as cutthroat. So, Wendy, a couple things. We're going to wrap this thing up. It's been fun getting back on here. We got some things real quick. So what is my deal? Oh, I did want to make a point. Wendy, you said last year your team to look out for is your favorite Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss, Wendy.
I'm going back to them.
Kiffin's been a little quiet. I'm not a big fan, obviously. I don't know. I'm kind of off of Lane Kiffin right now. Wendy, is Ole Miss going to make some kind of run at the title?
I don't know. I'm with you. They've been a little quiet. But here's the thing. He's built that defense a little bit. And listen, these kids love Lane Kiffin. It's a fun environment there, and I think they'll play hard for him this year. I think they've got an interesting schedule, meaning like they don't play Bama this year. I think they've also got a little easier of a path if they can make some games work. But I'm going to tell you something, Trey. You cannot sleep on Lane Kiffin. You just can't sleep on the guy. In my opinion, you can't sleep on him. I'm back on Lane Kiffin.
Okay, you're back on Lane Kiffin, and we'll see what he can do. Lane Kiffin's got to do one thing, probably like a lot of us in our lives. I'm not trying to be a psychologist here, but Lane Kiffin's just going to have to get out of his own way. He just does. Just do something normal when something normal needs to be done to win a game.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be quite as hard as you make it sometimes. We'll see what happens there, Wendy. 2 other things I really did notice, Wendy. Georgia Tech beats Florida State in the first week last week, and Georgia Tech wins the game. It's a great win for Georgia Tech. And one thing I really want to look at here is with this transfer portal, all these quarterbacks now, if they can play a little bit, they leave their college and they go somewhere else. And I'm starting to think, is there a trend where there's better quarterback play around college football because these good quarterbacks that were sitting behind other good quarterbacks are now kind of been let out into these teams, and more quarterbacks are getting a chance to play, Wendy. And I still think you find once a quarterback gets a chance to play, either he can really do it or he can't. I think college football is going to be better because better quarterbacks are being spread out all over the country. Wendy, what do you think?
Well, it is certainly not the I can't say his last name for Florida State. He's been a terrible quarterback everywhere he's gone. Yeah. Please don't, Florida State head coach. You sent the offseason whining and complaining. Oh, poor, pitiful us. We want out of the conference. We're too good for this conference. Really? You got Georgia Tech. They go to Ireland and they beat you. They beat you on the field, son. They beat you on the field. Y'all spent all this time saying you deserve. How about you recruit some high school players and try to build them throughout the 4 years? You're going to get everybody out of a transfer portal. Think you can mesh it all together over a summer and make it all work. But here's what I have found. When you usually stink it up like that, and you make a big stink about what should have been, could have been, would have been, they got floored. And when I tell you they embarrassed themselves in Ireland, they embarrassed themselves in Ireland.
Well, Wendy, that's what, DJU, I think that's who he is. I don't think the whole thing
I don't think he's a good quarterback.
But he is who he is. He's got to have some help around him, Wendy. And that's what all these things are doing is bringing in transfers and having to make a mesh, whether you can or you can't. I still think these quarterbacks transferring around is going to make college football done. There's two things. We possibly might, we're going to wrap this up, Wendy. We got two things. I might send out to the people who listen to this, I might send out a telephone numbers where you can leave a message.
Okay.
Where you can leave a message. You can either use your name, use a fake name. It needs to be relatively clean. I mean, we can't put something on here that's not clean.
Yeah, I can't.
But if you want to leave a message, what we might try to do is go have like a little message segment in this.
That would be fun.
If you want to call and leave a message, like I said, like to keep it kind of under a minute probably. And then, like I said, you can either use your real name or use some fake name, and we're going to do that throughout the year to kind of let you get your voice out there. Right. Definitely going to have some people back on this year. And last but not least, I'm thinking, Wendy, we could do a show on Sunday.
Okay.
We could possibly do a show Sunday to kind of run down the Saturday games and possibly a show Thursday. Okay. Last year, we only did one show a week. We're both busy. And that
you're busy. Your sister's not that busy. I mean, let's keep it real. Like, I'm not gonna sit there. I ain't doing much, Trey. I'm missing a baby and going to golf matches right now. That's all I'm doing.
So that's what I'm thinking. Possibly hit one up on Sunday just to kind of get the recap of the day, and then Thursday getting ready for the weekend. I don't know what we'll do, but listen, I've enjoyed it. Wendy, you got anything else before we drop off the first pod of the year?
Listen, best time of the year is coming up. We got Alabama football starting, but we got college football starting, guys. So just hit that couch on Saturday. Everybody have fun. Everybody cheer for your team. Talking smack is almost my absolute favorite part of this whole thing. So don't take any of it too seriously. I say that mostly to myself, but I cannot wait to see how this week goes, and some good games on. There are some good games on this Saturday, but roll Tide.
All right, baby. Hey, listen, roll Tide. Good to be back. I love you. We'll talk soon. Everybody enjoy the game Saturday. I'll probably send out let's get a couple of messages in here. We'll get rock and roll. Wendy, let's roll out.
All right. Love you. Roll Tide.
Love you. Bye.